Yes, I'm live now. Welcome once again to another new video. This is SAHOO and you are watching SAHOO's tutorial. And in this YouTube video, I'll be covering some important MCQ questions on English literature for the upcoming MPSET exam. I'll be covering some important MCQ questions for the upcoming MPSET exam that is going to be conducted on August. Okay. So do join and let me know if everything is okay. In this YouTube video, I'll be covering some important MCQ questions on English literature for the upcoming MPSET exam. So do join and let me know if everything is okay, if the voice quality and if the PPT is visible to everyone. I'll be covering some important MCQ questions okay, for the upcoming MPSET exam. Do join and let me know if everything is okay. And good evening to everyone. I hope that you are all well by the grace of Almighty and you must be sailing in the sea of life by the grace of Almighty. So do join and let me know if everything is okay, if the PPT is visible and if the audio quality is okay and I am also visible to you. Send a confirmations okay in the chat message okay if everything is okay. I'll be covering here okay some important MCQ questions for the upcoming MPSET exam. I'll be covering some important MCQ questions. Do join and let me know if everything is okay. And here is the day one. Here is the day one. Okay. English literature MPSET 2023. Okay, MPSET 2023. It's a kind of mock test okay, for the upcoming MPSET exam. So I don't want to waste your time. Let's begin the sessions here. Okay. Those who have joined yet, okay, and those who have not joined yet, okay, you can watch this session. Please visit the playlist that is MPSET, MPSET mock test English literature. So you will get in that playlist this video. Okay. Those who have not joined yet, you can watch this session later. And here is your first question on your screen. The first question is on your screen. Please do answer in the comment box. So you see the first question is here. Wallenstein, okay, is the popular designation of trilogy of dramas by which German author? So Wallenstein is the popular designation of trilogy of dramas by German author. Now your options are John Wolfgang von Goethe, Friedrich Nietzsche, Friedrich Schiller, and Thomas Mann. So Wallenstein is the popular designation of a trilogy of dramas by which German author? And here the right answer is actually Friedrich Schiller. Friedrich Schiller, okay, has written this trilogy, Wallenstein, which is the popular designations of a trilogy. So here C is the right answer, and here is the explanations you see that Wallenstein is a popular designations of a trilogy of dramas by the German author Friedrich Schiller, and Friedrich Schiller is actually credited to use the term romantic for the first time. Okay, it was Friedrich Schiller who used the term okay romantic okay for the first time. For the first time, romantic the word was used by Friedrich Schiller. Okay, and you see Friedrich Schiller and his elder brother that is okay August Wilhelm Schiller, okay, they are the founding members of Romanticism. Okay, Friedrich Schiller and his elder brother that is okay Wilhelm Schiller. Okay, August Wilhelm Schiller, they are actually the founding member of Romanticism. Okay, but it was Friedrich Schiller who for the first time had used the word romantic. And Wallenstein's the part of a trilogy consists of the plays. The first one is Wallenstein's Camp, the second one is the Piccolomini, and the third one is Wallenstein's Tale. Okay, it is in this drama that is Schiller addresses the decline of the famous General Albert von Wallenstein, basing it loosely on actual historical events during the 30 years war. Okay, next question. Okay, who is the author of the early romantic monologue Jonas Agricola in Meditation? Who is the author of the early dramatic monologue, and it is named as Jonas Agricola in Meditation. Your options are William Shakespeare, Emily Dickinson, Robert Browning, Samuel Taylor Coleridge. So you see this early dramatic monologue, and this was written by actually Robert Browning, who has written okay the famous one for Various Lovers. Okay, and it was actually you see it is paired with this work that is paired with For Various Lovers. Okay, it is For Various. Okay, it is paired with For Various Lover, where you see the lover is actually entangling. Okay, strangling. The lover is strangling strangling Porphyria with her hair, and this is actually abnormal psychology. Robert Browning is actually examining abnormal psychology in Porphyria's lovers, where a man is actually strangling his lover, that is called Porphyria, with her hair. Okay, but here the author of the early romantic monologue, that is Jonas Agricola in meditation, is actually Robert Browning. And you see, this is an early dramatic monologue by Robert Browning, and this poem, that is Jonas Agricola in meditation, was actually published in monthly repository later. It appeared in dramatic lyrics, okay, paired with Porphyria's lovers under the title Man House Tale. And you see the Porphyria's lovers in the poem, a man is strangling his lover Porphyria with her hair, and all her hair in one long yellow string I wound 3 times a little throat around and strangle her, okay, that is killing her and killed her. Okay. In Daphne du Maurier's, okay, in Daphne du Maurier's 1938 Gothic novel Rebecca. So Rebecca is the novel. It's a Gothic novel by Daphne du Maurier's. The story revolves around an unnamed young woman who marries a wealthy widower. Okay? What did haunt the widower and the household? Here you see, Daphne du Maurier's 1938 Gothic novel is known as Rebecca. And the story actually revolves around an unnamed young woman who marries a wealthy widower. Now, what did haunt the widower and the household? Now, your options are the presence of a ghost, the mysterious disappearance of the first wife, the constant presence of a portrait of the first wife, the haunting memories of the first wife. So, here the right option is actually the haunting memories of the first wife, the haunting memories of the first wife. And here you see, Rebecca is a 1938 Gothic novel written by the English novelist Daphne du Maurier. The novel is depicting an unnamed young woman who impetuously marries a wealthy widower before discovering that both he and his household are being haunted by the memory of his late wife, called the titular character Rebecca. So this is Daphne du Maurier's work Rebecca. Next question. So what is the opening line of the novel Rebecca? What is the opening line of the novel Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier? Last night I dreamed I went to Manderley again. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. It was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. Call me Isabel. Everyone knows that it is the opening line of Call Me Isabel is the opening of Moby Dick. It is the Moby Dick, okay. Moby Dick begins with these lines, Call Me Isabel. And it was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. And this is the opening line of the dystopian novel by George Orwell. That is 1984. 1984 is the novel. This is a dystopian fictions by George Orwell that published in 1949. It published in 1949, where Winston Smith is the protagonist, whereas antagonist is the big brother. Okay? And the last night I dreamed I went to a Manderley again. This is the opening line of Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So it's the last line of it is the opening line of Rebecca. Rebecca's opening line is actually last night I dreamed I went to Manderley. Whereas J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, the novel The Hobbit, The Hobbit Hobbit begins with these lines, in a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. So here the opening line of the novel Rebecca is last night I dreamed I went to Manderley again. So here A is the right answer. And here is the explanation. The novel Rebecca is remembered for the character Mrs. Danvers, the West Country estate Manderley, and its opening line is actually last night I dreamed I went to Manderley again. So, and the Hobbit is beginning with the Hobbit Hobbit actually Hobbit. Okay? So the Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien wrote the first line of the Hobbit that appeared in 1937 on a scrap of a paper while he was marking exams. Okay, the beginning line is actually in a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. So this is the opening line of the J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. Next question: which Australian author won the Man Booker Prize for twice? Okay, so it was the Australian author who won the Man Booker Prize for fiction twice. Okay, now your options are Thomas Kinley, Peter Carey, Tim Winton, Richard Flanagan. So the Australian author who owned, the Australian novelist actually, he owned the Man Booker Prize for fiction twice. It was actually Peter Carey, and the first novel was actually Oscar and Lucinda Okay, Oscar and Lucinda. And that is okay. In 1988 में उसको मिला था पहले first, and the second one is actually the history of true Caligan, the history of, okay, the history of the Caligan, the history of the Caligan, okay. The history of the Caligan is the another one. So and it for this work, okay, and he was awarded with the prestigious, okay, Man Booker Prize in 2001. So it first came in 1988 and the second came in 2001. Oscar and Lucinda and the history of the Caligan. Peter Carey was the person who received the Man Booker Prize for twice, okay. And here is the explanation. You see that Peter Carey won his first Booker Prize in the year 1988 for Oscar and Lucinda, and for the second time he was awarded with the prestigious Man Booker Prize in 2001 for the true history of the Caligan. So here these were the explanations of this answers, okay. Next, moving on to question number 6 here. You see that who is the author of the novel The Magician of Lublin? The Magician of Lublin actually a novel by Isaac Bashevis Singer, Philip Roth, Saul Bellow, Elie Wiesel. So here the author of the novel The Magician of Lublin, yes, this is actually Isaac Bashevis Singer, Philip Roth, Saul Bellow, Elie Wiesel. So actually the author of the novel The Magician of Lublin, and it is actually Isaac Bashevis Singer, okay, Bashevis Singer, and he is actually a Nobel laureate, okay, he's actually a Nobel laureate, and this novel is actually written in Yiddish language, and here is the explanation that you see. The Magician of Lublin, it's Yiddish, is a novel by Nobel laureate Isaac Bashevis Singer, okay. He has awarded the Nobel Prize for fiction, for literature in 1978. So Isaac Bashevis Singer, okay, was awarded with the prestigious Nobel Prize in literature in 1978 पे उसको क्या मिला था, नोबेल मिला था. And here this Magician of Lublin was written in Yiddish language, okay. And his another famous works is actually his memoir. His memoir is actually A Day of Pleasure, stories of a boy growing up in a Warsaw. And another one is one in fiction for his collection is A Crown of Feathers and Other Stories. So these are the famous works by the Isaac Bashevis Singer. Next question. This is the story of The Magician of Lublin. The story is set in the mid 1880s. The Russian ruled Poland. The main character is Zaz Maju, is a magician from Lublin who travels around Poland to perform before audiences. He is actually a Jew, but not very devout, okay, and married to Esther. He has affairs with his assistant Magda, with a young Jewish woman in Piaski named Zettel, with a middle-class Catholic widow in Warsaw named Emilia. Check. What's the possible source of the poem Porphyrious Lover by Robert Browning? Robert Browning, the famous one where he has examined, okay, the abnormality of the lover, okay, where he's actually strangling the lover, okay, with her hair. So what is the possible source of the poem Porphyrious Lover? John Keats' Ode to the Nightingale, William Wordsworth's lines composed in 5 females above Tintern Abbey, Samuel Taylor Coleridge The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and John Wilson's extracts from Gosden's diary. So the source of Porphyrious Lover is actually John Wilson's extracts from Gosden's diary. So here D is the right answer. And you see the explanations here. A possible source for the poem Porphyrious Lover is John Wilson's extracts from Gosden's diary. Is a lurid account of murder published in Blackwood magazine in 1818. So next questions. Which of the following works is not by Gerard Manley Hopkins? The Dynasts, God's Grandeur, White Beauty, Felix Randall. So God's Grandeur, White Beauty, Felix Randall, these are all works by G.M. Hopkins, whereas the Dynast is actually a closed drama in prose and verse, okay, by Hardy. It is Hardy's, okay. Closed drama in verse and prose, okay. In verse and prose. So this one is the right answer here, in verse and prose, okay. So Dynasts is actually a closed drama by Hardy's, okay, in verse and prose. So A is the right answer. And here is the explanation of the Dynasts in English language closed drama in verse and prose by Thomas Hardy. Hardy himself described this work as an epic drama of the war with Napoleon in 3 parts, 19 acts and 130 scenes. Not counting for the 4 scenes and the after scene, the exact total number of the scenes is 131. The verse is primarily iambic pentameter, occasionally tetrameter, and often with rhymes, okay. The 3 parts were published in 1904, 1906 and 1908. So this is a closed drama by Hardy. A.S. Batts, okay, Fossils are Romance, okay, this is one of the famous novel written by A.S. Batt, okay, A.S. Batts, okay, Fossils are Romance, okay, it is to Old English periods, Victorian period, Middle English period, Restoration period. So you see that Fossils are Romance returns to the Victorian period. So here B is the right, so Victorian period is the answer, and here you see this is the explanations of the answer here. What is a Romance? The 1990 best-selling novel by the British writer A.S. Batt that won the 1990 Booker Prize for fiction. So for this novel, okay, for the same in that same year, okay, A.S. Batt had actually received the prestigious Booker Prize, okay, in 1990. The novel is exploring the postmodern concerns of similar novels, which are often categorized as historiographic metafiction, a genre that blends approaches from both historical fiction and metafiction. Okay. The novel follows two modern-day academics as they research the paper trail around the previously unknown life between the famous fictional poets Randolph Henry S. and Christabel Lamotti. So Randolph Henry S. and Christabel Lamotti. First, that is set both in the present day as well as in the Victorian era. So it's going back to Victorian era. First is an romance. Its subtitle, A Romance by A.S. Batt. It's set both in the present day and the Victorian era, contrasting the two time periods as well as echoing similarities and satirizing modern academia and mating rituals. Okay, next questions. Which of the following was not written by Simon de Beauvoir? So the second sex, Ethics of Ambiguity, Adieu Farewell to Jean Paul Sartre, The Female Eunuch. So yeah, the first ABC, these three novels were written by these works are written by Simon de Beauvoir. Second says Ethics of Ambiguity, Adieu Farewell to Jean Paul Sartre, whereas The Female Eunuch is actually written by German Maurier. German Maurier has written, okay, the Female Eunuch. The Female Eunuch was not written by Simon de Beauvoir. And here is the explanation. You see, The Female Eunuch is a 1970 book by the German Maurier, okay, that became an international bestseller, an important text in the feminist movement, and its sequel is the sequel of The Female Eunuch that published 1970 is actually The Whole Women that was published in 1999. So the first came The Female Eunuch that was written by German Maurier, and that published in 1970, whereas okay, the sequel of The Female Eunuch is actually The Whole Women that published in 1999. It's a sequel of The Female Eunuch by German Maurier. Next question. Okay. The Golden Notebook is a 1972 book by Doris Lessing. 1972 book by Doris Lessing. The Golden Notebook. Okay. Doris Lessing actually examines sexual and women's liberation movements. Okay. Provides an analysis of the communism. Okay. Contains powerful anti-words. Okay. War messages. Explores the trauma of middle class women. So you see the Golden Notebook by Doris Lessing. But Doris Lessing is actually examining here is exploring the trauma of a middle class women, and its name is Anna. Okay, and here you see this is the explanations. Okay, you see in Doris Lessing in her preface claimed that the most important theme in the novel is fragmentation, the mental breakdown that Anna suffers, okay, perhaps from the compartmentalization of her life, reflected in division of the four notebooks, but also reflecting the fragmentation of society. So the main important theme is actually the mental breakdown of the Anna. Anna suffers. Okay, okay. And the Golden Notebook is a 1962 work. Okay, story by writer Anna Hood. The four notebooks. Okay, in which she records her life and her attempt to tie them together in a fifth gold-colored notebook. The Golden Notebook is a 1962 novel by the British author Doris Lessing. Okay, this is all about the Golden Notebook, 1972 work, 1962 work by Doris Lessing. And here is the next question. It is when I am weary of consideration and life is too much like a pathless wood, I would like to get away from art a while and then come back to it and begin over. So which lines are these? Walt Whitman, Edgar Allan Poe, Robert Frost, Emily Dickinson. It is when I am weary of consideration and life is too much like a pathless wood, and I would like to get away from art a while and then come back to it and begin over. So these lines are actually from the famous poem by Robert Frost, and it is from actually Birches. Okay, the Birches tree. Okay, and here is the expression. You see, this is the poem here, Birches, the tree. Okay, the Birches, the poem by Robert Frost, who is known as terrifying poet. Robert Frost is known as a terrifying poet. Okay, terrifying poet. Okay, a terrifying poet. He is known as a terrifying poet. Okay, so here you see that okay, it is when I am very consideration. Life is too much like a pathless wood, and I would like to get away from earth of file and then come back to it and begin over. So these lines appear in our first okay, birds is the famous poem by our parts. Okay, who authored the twice born fiction? The twice born fiction. Samala A. Narayan, Purushottam Lal, Meenakshi Mukherjee, Mahadevi Verma. So here the twice born fiction, this work actually written by Meenakshi Mukherjee. Meenakshi Mukherjee has written the twice born fiction. Next question. The famous term culture industry, okay. Dialectic of enlightenment. It was actually coined in the book, okay. Dialectic of enlightenment. This is the name of the book where okay, this term culture industry was okay. Enlightenment. Okay. Dialectic of enlightenment. Okay. The famous term culture industry was coined by Theodore Adorno, George Lucas, Stuart Hall, Roland Barthes. So you see the famous term culture industry was actually coined by Theodore Adorno along with Horkheimer. So Theodore Adorno and Max Horkheimer, they had actually coined the term culture and industry, and the name of the book where they had coined it is Dialectic of Enlightenment. And here is the explanation. You see that Max Horkheimer, the term cultural industry is coined by the critical theorists like Theodore Adorno and Max Horkheimer, and was presented as a critical vocabulary in the chapter The Culture Industry, Enlightenment as a Mass Deception of the book Dialectic of Enlightenment that appeared in 1947. Dialectic of Enlightenment appeared in which year? Dialectic of Enlightenment appeared in 1947 in Byatt. It is by Theodore Adorno and Max Horkheimer. In that book, they had coined the term culture industry. Okay, next questions. The biblical character. Okay, the biblical character. You see the biblical character that figures okay in Keats' Ode to Nightingale each Ahab, Susanna, Ruth, and Mary Magdalene. So it is actually Ruth. Ruth is the right answer. C is the right answer. Ruth actually there is an allusion. Okay, we find okay many allusions in Ode to Nightingale. In Ode to Nightingale by Keats, okay, we find many allusions. And one of the famous allusions is actually referring to Ruth. Okay, so the biblical character Ruth is here referred here. Ruth is the right answer actually. Next question. The title, The Far from the Madding Crowd, which is taken from Pope's Rape of the Lock, Grace, Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, Dryden's Religiosity, and William Cooper's okay, The Task. So here the title Far from the Madding Crowd is taken from Thomas Gray's okay, Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard title. And here is the explanation. You see that Hardy took the title from Thomas Gray's poem Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard that was published in the year 1751 में published हुआ था Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard, and the lines are actually far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife. Their sober wishes never learned to stray along the cool sequestered way of life. They kept the noiseless tenor of their way. Madding here means actually frenzied. So though we have Thomas Gray's okay Elegy written in a country churchyard, this inspired okay Hardy to write Far from Madding Crowd. Where far from the madding crowd, you see the characters like Bathsheba and Gabriel O. Okay, Gabriel O is actually the Shepherd, and see he falls in love with okay Bathsheba. Okay, Bathsheba. These are the characters, important characters far from the madding crowd. Okay, and you see here is the expressions. Okay, the Gabriel O is actually a young shepherd, and here falls in love with Bathsheba, okay, a proud beauty who arrives to live with her aunt. Okay, chalo. Next questions. Okay, the concept of deep structure and surface structure was given by Hope, Safir, Halliday, Chomsky. So it is Chomsky. Noam Chomsky has given the concepts of okay of deep structure and surface structures in transformational grammar. And you see here is the explanation. Deep structure and surface structures. Okay, although are concepts. Okay, are concepts used in linguistics, specifically in study of syntax in Chomsky's okay tradition of transformational generative grammar. Surface structure. What is surface structure? Surface structure क्या है? Is the actual spoken sentence comprising phonemes, the sound, syllables, words, phrase, and sentence. The actual spoken sentence is known as surface structure. Whereas deep structure is actually the underlying meaning of the sentence. Okay, the underlying is the abstract thing. This is the abstract thing, okay. The abstract thing is actually okay, deep structure, okay. Surface structure is the actual spoken sentence comprising phonemes, the sounds, syllables, words, phrase, sounds, whereas deep structure is the underlying meaning, okay, of the sentence. It is the abstract thing, you see. So you see that one of the most important concept proposed by Chomsky is the concept of surface structure and deep structure. Okay. So surface structure it can be defined as the syntactic form that take an actual sentences. Okay. In other words, it is forms of sentences resulted from modification transformation. Okay. Whereas deep structure, okay, you see it is defined as, whereas deep structure is actually defined as an abstract level of structural organization in which all the elements determining structural interpretation are represented. Okay. So this is the deep structure and the surface structure. Deep structure is the abstract quality, okay, the meaning, whereas the surface structure is the actual sentence, the word, the sound, the syllables, okay. Identify the autobiographical novel by George Eliot. The Mill and the Flows, Adam Beat, Daniel Deronda, Middlemarch. So yeah, the autobiographical novel of George Eliot is The Mill and the Flows, where the two okay, there is the brothers and sisters. It is a novel about the brothers and sisters actually, and then brothers and sisters, and it's Tom Tolliver and Maggie Tolliver. Okay, Tom and Maggie Tolliver. Okay, and they grew up at okay, Dorcott Mill, the fictional area, Dorcott Mill. Okay, Dorcott Mill is the mill where they grew up, and the Tom Tolliver and Maggie Tolliver. And here you see the Mill and the Flows is described in its most biographical portrayal. So here he has portrayal. Here this is the portrayal of a complex relationship between brother and a sister. It is Tom Tolliver and Maggie Tolliver. Tom Tolliver and Maggie Tolliver. Okay, spanning a period of 10 to 15 years. Okay, the novel details the lives of Tom and Maggie Tolliver, siblings. Okay, the siblings actually who grew up at Dorcott Mill on the river flows. This is the autobiographical novel of George Eliot. Semiotics and the Philosophy of Language. Semiotics and the Philosophy of Language is a book by Umberto Eco, Robert Penwarren, Rolla Barthes, and A.D. Willard. Semiotics and the Philosophy of Language, which actually is a book by, it is a book by whom? It is a book by Umberto Eco. Umberto Eco has written actually that is your Semiotics and the Philosophy of Language. So A is the right answer. Moving on to question 19 here. Understanding poetry. Understanding poetry was written by the Clean Books, the New Critic. The New Critic, okay. The New Critic, okay. Close reading. New Critic actually propounding, okay. Yeah, they are speaking about the close reading. Close reading. In order to understand a work, okay, you need to read closely. Close reading is very important, okay. So it is understanding poetry, okay, was written by Clean Books in collaboration. So it was written in collaboration with whom? Alan Tate, Arthur Blackmore, John Coranzam, Robert Penwarren. किसके साथ किया था? So Clean Books and Robert Penn. It is actually Robert Penwarren. Understanding poetry is actually written in collaboration with Robert Penwarren. So here D is the right answer. And as the explanation you see, Understanding Poetry, okay, was an American college textbook poetry anthology by Clean Books and Robert Penwarren. That was first published in the year 1938. The book influenced neo-criticism and went through its fourth edition in 1976. So this is the Understanding Poetry that was written in collaboration with Clean Books and Robert Penwarren, that published in 1938. Next question. The title of the Whale-Rod Aunt that is written by actually Clean Books, okay. The title of the Whale-Rod Aunt, Studies in the Structure of Poetry, has been taken from a metaphysical poet's poem. Now, the title of the Whale-Rod Aunt, the title of the Whale-Rod Aunt, and it was written by Clean Books. This is a work by Clean Books, okay. This is a work by Clean Books. Clean Books has written, the New Critic has written actually the title of the Whale-Rod Aunt, and Studies in the Structural Poetry has been taken from the metaphysical poet's poem. Who is he? Andrew Marvell, John Donne, George Herbert, Abraham Cowley. So the Whale-Rod Aunt is actually taken from the work of John Donne, and the name of the work is actually canonization, that begins with the famous opening line, that is having the famous opening line, for God's sake hold your tongue and let me know. So this is the John Donne. John Donne is the right answer. Okay, and you see that Whale-Rod Aunt, and it's actually subtitled is Studies in the Structure of Poetry. That is a 1947 collection of essays by Clean Books. It considered a seminal text, okay, in the neo-critical school of literary criticism. The title contains an allusion to the fourth stanza of John Donne's poem, Canonization, which is the primary subject of the first chapter of the book, okay. John Donne's The Canonization. Next question, moving on to question 21. Set in 1941. So this novel is set in 1941. The story is about how she is consistently regarded as ugly due to her mannerisms and dark skin. As a result, she develops an inferiority complex, which fuels her desire for the blue eyes she equates with whiteness. Name the novel. The bluest eyes, Sula, Song of Solomon, Beloved. So here, the right answer is the bluest eyes, and this is the debut novel, and this is the debut novel. This is the debut novel of Toni Morrison. This is the debut novel of Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison's bluest eyes were Piccola. Okay, so here the bluest eye actually Toni Morrison's okay the debut novel, and here bluest eye actually is the right answer. Okay, next questions. Okay, and you see that Toni Morrison actually had in 1993 में उसको नोबेल मिलता है. टोनी मॉरिसन हैज वाज awarded the prestigious Nobel Prize in 1993. ठीक है, चलो. Which African American writer wrote Playing in the Dark, Wildness and Literary Imagination? टोनी मॉरिसन, जोनाथन हासन, एमिली बरेका, एलिस वॉकर. सो किसने लिखा था Playing in the Dark, Wildness and Literary Imagination? So it was actually Toni Morrison who got the Nobel Prize in 1993. Toni Morrison got the Nobel Prize in 1993. That is Toni Morrison is the right answer here. Who has written? She has written Playing in the Dark, Wildness and Literary Imagination. Chalo. Next questions. Sorry, here is the explanation. You see, Playing in the Dark, Wildness and Literary Imagination is a 1992 work of literary criticism by Toni Morrison. In it, okay, she develops a reading of major white American authors and traces the way their perceptions of blackness gave a defining shape to their works and thus to American literary canon. Okay. Who wrote Dantesque trilogy? Dantesque trilogy is a part Dantesque trilogy, and in the trilogy we find the novels like Beloved, Judge, Paradise. Okay, Beloved is the first one, and for this, okay, he was awarded the prestigious Booker Prize. Then you have Beloved. After Beloved comes actually Judge. Okay, and then you have Paradise. Okay, Paradise. So this is the part of the Dantesque trilogy. Okay, Beloved, Judge, and Paradise. Okay, these are three novels of this Dantesque trilogy, and it was written by Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison had written the Dantesque trilogy, Beloved, Judge, and Paradise. And for Beloved, he was awarded with the prestigious, okay, in 1988 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. Sorry, it was Pulitzer Prize. Okay, Beloved got the Pulitzer Prize. Okay, ठीक है, American novel. That's a Pulitzer Prize. Okay, in 1988 में उसको Pulitzer Prize for Fiction मिला था. Pulitzer Prize. Okay, Pulitzer Prize for Fiction मिला था टोनी मॉरिसन को फिक्शन के लिए for this work Beloved. For this work Beloved, okay, Toni Morrison had received 1988 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction 1988 में, and 1993 में क्या मिला था 1993 में उसको नोबेल मिला था, नोबेल प्राइज मिला था 1993 में. ठीक है, Dantesque trilogy, Beloved, Judge, and Paradise. Okay, and you see Dantesque trilogy consists of the three novels Beloved 1987, Judge 1992, and Paradise 1997. So these are the three parts of the Dantesque trilogy. Next question. That is the change of words from depending on its grammatical function. Change of words. Okay. Inflections, accidents, occurrence, flexing. What is the other name of inflection? Inflections का other नाम है deletion. Okay, deletion. Inflection का other नाम क्या है? Deletion. Okay. Deletion. So you see, that's the change of words from depending on its grammatical function. Inflection, accidents, occurrence, flexion. So it is the inflection. Inflection is the inflection. No, it is not. It is not deletion actually. Sorry. Inflection is actually inflection. Inflection or inflection actually is a process. Okay, of elision Okay, elision का दूसरा नाम क्या है? Deletion. ठीक है, sorry, deletion. ठीक है, it is inflection. ठीक है. So inflection actually in linguistic morphology, inflection and inflection is a possible word formation in which word is modified to express different grammatical categories. Tense, this one. The inflection of verbs is called conjugation of one, and one can refer to the inflection of nouns and these things. Okay, an inflection expresses, okay, grammatical categories with affixation as prefix, suffix, infix, circumfix, transfix, and apophony as Indo-European about the other emotive fix. So this is the inflection. Inflection is actually a change of words from depending on its grammatical function. Change of words. Okay. The practice of leaving. This is elision, and its other name is deletion. Okay. Deletion. Sorry. Okay. Deletion. So the practice of leaving a sound out when you say a word or group of words. For example, when you say it quickly or in ordinary conversation. So when you say it quickly in ordinary conversation, you make a kind of you are leaving a sound out, okay, when you say a word or group of words, okay. So this is a deletion. So this is elision, backing, gapping, all of the above. It is the elision, okay. It is the elision, okay. And what is elision in linguistic? An elision or deletion is the omission of one or more sounds, that is the vowel, a consonant, a whole syllable in a word or phrase, okay. This is the omissions, the deletions of words. Who is the author of the novel Cloud Street? This is a novel. This is an Australian novel. Tim Winton, Peter Carey, David Mallow, Patrick White. So the novel Cloud Street, which is at Parth. So it is Tim Winton. Tim Winton has written the novel Cloud Street, and it is actually Cloud Street is a novel by Tim Winton, published in 1991. It chronicles the lives of working class families, the Pickles and the Lambs, okay, who come to live together in a large house called Cloud Street in Perth, Western Australia, over a period of 20 years, from 1940 to 1963. And this novel received several awards, including Miles Franklin Award. Okay, so Cloud Street is written by Tim Winton. Who wrote Last Man in Tower? Khwaja Ahmed Abbas, Asif Karim by Joe Randall Ackerley, Arvind Adiga. So it's Arvind Adiga. Arvind Adiga has written The Last Man in Tower. Okay, he has also written The White Tiger Between the Assassinations. Okay, these are the works by Arvind Adiga, and Arvind Adiga's White Tiger, okay, 2008 में published हुआ था, and at the same time, okay, Man Booker Prize मिला था. So Arvind Adiga got the Man Booker Prize for his, okay, White Tiger in, okay, 2008 में. Okay, good evening, Ram. And here you see Last Man in Tower in 2011 by Indian writer Arvind Adiga, published by HarperCollins India. Okay. And here you see the protagonist of the novel is retired school teacher and named Jogesh Amurthy, who is affectionately known as Master Ji. Okay? Jogesh Amurthy is the protagonist of Last Man in Tower, who is actually affectionately known as Master Ji. Yeah, got it, Rao. Fantastic. Okay. Women in Romanticism was written by Shobhade, Namita Gokhale, Gavaladas, Meena Alexander. Kisna likha tha? Good evening, Rao. Good evening. Women in Romanticism here was written by whom? By Meena Alexander, Kamala Das, Namita Gokhale, and Shobhade. Kisne likha tha? Women in Romanticism. Question number 28 is on your screen here. Women in Romanticism is a work by okay, it's the Meena. Okay, absolutely right. Meena Alexander has written Women in Romanticism. Okay, and here is your question of 29. A lover and a wanderer. And a Petalic Love Times, written by Syed Amiruddin, Joe Randall Beckerley, Arvind Adiga, Ahmad Ali. Isn't it? A lover and a wanderer. Petalic Love Times, written by Syed Amiruddin, Joe Randall Beckerley, Arvind Adiga, and Ahmad Ali. Who wrote? A lover and a wanderer, Petalic Love Times. This is the collection of poems by whom? Okay, Syed Amiruddin, excellent Rao. Syed Amiruddin has written A Lover and a Wanderer, Petalic Love Times. Okay, and today's last question here. Today's last question on your screen. To win at the session, here is the question number 30 here. Today's last question. Who wrote Discourse on the Origin and the Basis of Inequality Among Men, also commonly known as Second Discourse, that appeared in 1755? Okay, Ginger Grasso, Augustine Buck, Emile Zola, Honor D. Balzac. किसने लिखा है? Discourse on the Origin and the Basis of Inequality. He has also written Social Contract. Another important word is social contract. Okay? Social contract is another important word. Then Julie. Okay, this is an important work by Ginger Grasso. Excellent. Ginger Grasso has written, okay, Discourse on the Origin and the Basis of Inequality. And another important novel by Ginger Grasso is Social Contract. Julie or the Heloise in the epistolary novel, sentimental novel Julie. Julie is actually an epistolary or sentimental novel. So these were 30 questions that I have discussed along with the explanation in this channel. I hope you have liked the sessions. Okay. Thank you for watching the sessions and got it out. Fantastic. It is Ginger Grasso. Excellent. Ginger Grasso is the right answer. Okay. Okay. I'll be ending the session here. Thank you, Rao. Okay. Good night. Good night. So let's end the session here. Okay.